We have a target price that's 420 in 12 months' time. And I think what you'll see in a lot of 2020 and 2021 estimates is the working off of inventory. And that's really the question. So we have 384 aircraft that are grounded and 400 that are built through December. So that at the 42 per month production rate. So it's about how quickly Boeing could shave off that 800 inventory that are currently in storage mode.
So 420 is your price target on this, and you think it will get there by this time next year?
I think so. I think we'll have that dialogue. It'll be a turbulent ride back there, but I think we'll see return to service. We have an estimate of the first half, late in the first half in 2020.
As you were explaining before we came on air, Phil, they're going to look at every single one of these planes, the ones that are in sort of mothballs right now, in storage, and presumably all of the planes that are or were in service all around the globe.
The ones you want to focus on are the ones that are built but not yet delivered. What the FAA said was that in the past, they would have designated authorization reps. In other words, if you were Boeing, I'd say, you know what, Tyler and Steve and Sheila, they work for you. They're good. They can go and they can approve these planes. Allows you to approve and certify, put airworthiness certificates in those planes much quicker. Now the FAA has said, no, we're going to do it. So it's a much slower process. Now, could that change 3 months down the road if things are going well? Could the FAA decide, you know what, we're pretty comfortable with what we see here. Now we're going to have some DARs who are going to speed up the authorization of these planes.
Does this speak to the communication issue, Sheila? I mean, Boeing has not been transparent as much as it perhaps should have been with shareholders, waiting until the 17th of December to announce the production halt, which will start in January. And it's already provided repeatedly a number of unrealistic scenarios to shareholders about when the 737s will return to service.
Sure. So I think Boeing has laid out a framework. In July on the earnings call, it said it would halt production if there was no return to service visibility by the end of this year. But they've laid out a framework for its industry partners, whether it's its supply chain or its airline customers that need to figure out their fleet planning as well. So with that said, sometimes the financial community takes that as financial guidance, but it's not as easy as giving tax rate for the next quarter out. It has a bunch of variables associated with it that it has no control over.
And just in Boeing's defense, it was really Steve Dickson, the head of the FAA, coming out and saying, it ain't happening this year, and it's going to be into 2020. That was really the trigger. That's when they were like, okay, now we've got all of these planes that are built. Do we still want to add on to the inventory? Do we want to have 500, 520 of these? And then you're really looking at an issue in terms of not only continuing production, but also then trying to work off that inventory.
Phil, for forecasting purposes, how good is that second quarter return to service? Because you said they had like 400 plus planes in inventory.
400. About 400.
Why would they start making them again until they at least cleared out part of that inventory?
Well, I don't think it's just flip the switch and immediately you're going to see 42 a month. I think it's going to be waking up the factory and gradually increasing that. And that's why some are saying, look, we think it'll be shut down for most of the first quarter. I don't know what your guidance is, but most analysts that I've talked with have said, look, we think it's gone for most of the first quarter, might extend a little bit into the second quarter.
How many people are going to be furloughed because of this?
No furloughs. As of now,
they're going to carry those people on the payroll.
Everybody will continue to be paid. There are no planned furloughs. Now, look, if this gets extended out into Q2, or further, well, then they might have to revisit this.
That's 12,000 jobs at the Renton, Washington plant, at the 737 plant. But that does not include the workers at the other suppliers like GE, like Safran, among others, that are being affected by this.
Great point. I mean, what is a company like Spirit Aerosystems?
Are those jobs at risk, Sheila?
Well, I think the supply chain has been fairly well accommodated up to this point, producing at a rate of 42, just 10 below where Boeing was prior to the grounding. And so they've seen minimal financial impact. So they'll carry that burden as we've halted production.
But it's different now. The production isn't going to be 42. It's going to be zero for a particular amount of time. Let's go to a question here, and maybe it's a naive question, Sheila, or maybe it's on the mark, and that is this: is one of the things that insulates Boeing the idea that there really isn't a viable competitor or alternative to this aircraft? Because if you go to Airbus, you're going to wait.
Yeah, I think we've heard from Airbus that you would have to wait for 2023, 2024. And it's interesting that out of the 4,500 MAX aircraft in backlog, you haven't seen one official order switch from Boeing to Airbus aircraft. So I think the backlog has pretty much stayed intact. Of course, we've assumed some of those aircraft go away, and we've called them phantom aircraft, but I think it shows that the customer hasn't spoken.